Hey guys, what's going on? We're kicking off a new season of Jam Session, and I got my dear friend Daryl Mosley on, songwriter, outstanding musician. Daryl, how are you doing?
Things are good, man. It's great to see you.
How'd you survive the hurricanes? I know you were traveling and you were around a little bit of the hurricanes, but was your area affected at all?
Here where I live, we weren't. I was funny. I was not funny. It was actually tough. I was actually in North Carolina the day before it was coming in, and I was scheduled to be there on the Friday. I was hosting an event, and I really didn't want to bail on it, but I kept watching that forecast, and my concern was that, man, some 18-wheeler is going to blow over, lay crossways on the interstate, and I'm going to miss my gigs in Kansas. And so I bowed out, and I left a little early, and it turned out to be the best decision because the part of I-40 that I was traveling actually collapsed later on. And, there were people that I knew that were kind of isolated for several days without power and without cell service and no way to alert their families that they were okay. And so it was, I still got some friends that are struggling, but fortunately I made it out to just in the nick of time.
Hey, so are you working on some new projects and you got a lot going on? You're kind of on tour, and I just wanted to kind of find out, like, so what's your new inspiration? What are the things that are driving you right now with your brand and your music?
Touring never stops for me, really. I do about 150 dates a year, and I'm always on the road. I just released my fourth album, Long Days and Short Stories, which just came out, just a few weeks ago, and it's doing really, really well. So with me, I mean, recording is always kind of a necessary evil. I never enjoyed that part of as much as I do the live performance. So just staying out on the road and performing live is kind of what drives me as much as anything else.
One thing I'd like to really ask you about is you've been really moving your brand along, and I've known you for almost 2 years now, and just enjoy it every time we have you on the show because, hey, you're our first session for the new year going in, and I appreciate it. But how are you leveraging social media now to kind of get your brand a little bit bigger?
I'm honestly, I've never really been as comfortable with social media as I'd like to be. I see a lot of artists that are really super transparent and that sort of thing with social media, and that's never been my strong suit. But one of the things I've done that's helped me is traveling. Most of my dates I travel on are solo, and so it's just usually me by myself, and so that allows me the flexibility to be able to leave a little earlier or stay a little later, veer off the beaten path, and see some things that maybe I couldn't see otherwise. And so I post lots of pictures of some of the places I see, and that sort of thing, and that seems to be the thing that I do that most engages the followers is some of the little strange things I see on the way or unique things. And just got back from Wyoming, posted some pictures of some of the wildlife I saw out there, and I have a number of people say how much they enjoy kind of seeing the country vicariously that way. And so that's kind of been my approach to it anyway.
And so how do you keep up your energy and doing what you do?
I'm kind of blessed with the stamina, and I've never fully understood it. But the traveling, it doesn't really wear me down like it does a lot of artists. I hear a lot of artists complain about how hard the road is, and that's never been my experience. I travel a lot by myself. It's not uncommon for me to do 12 or 14 hours of driving in a day, and usually one night of sleep, I can bounce back from that pretty well. I still enjoy that part of it. I figure there will come a day when I won't be able to do that. And I've often said when the good Lord is ready to slow me down, I'll be the first to know. But as it stands right now, that's still one of the things that it excites me to know that I'm fixing to get back out on the road and take off to another place.
All right, so hold on. So who sets up for you? You don't have a roadie crew. You just show up by yourself. You plug in the engineers, all the things that requires to put a show on. Is it already contracted when you get there? How's that work, man?
It depends on where I'm playing. If I'm playing a festival, usually there's obviously a sound crew and that sort of thing. What I travel with on stage is fairly intimate. It's I have a little setup, the guitar, the vocal, and everything runs through, and I bring that out and set that up on stage, and then they just patch into that. So, but if I'm playing a smaller venue, then usually it's just, it's one plug in and set the EQ and we're good to go. So because of that, I can kind of operate as my own roadie. I just come in with my equipment, usually 2 trips to the truck, and I've got it brought in, and I can literally get set up and ready for sound check in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. So what's your coffee intake, man? Really, what is your coffee intake?
I'm not a big coffee guy. I never have been. I love the smell of it. I don't like the taste of it too much. I tell you what keeps me alert on the road as much as anything else is audiobooks and podcasts.
All right.
I mean, I listen to some music, but that kind of over time it kind of starts becoming background music, and I like things to mentally engage me. So podcasts and audiobooks will do that.
All right, so I know you're a writer and you've written for a lot of other people. So what's the complexities of you writing as you're on the road, and how are you managing that, the songs that you're going to sing and the songs that you are actually, putting out for other artists? How do you kind of manage that? Because I'm sure people contact you and ask you to write music for them.
Yeah, and most of the time people are not asking for something specific as much as they're just asking if you've got something that that you could pitch to them that they're looking for. The bulk of songs that I write, I'm kind of writing for myself, but occasionally I'll write something that I can tell when I'm finished with the song, even though I may like the song, it's probably not something that I personally will end up recording. And so I kind of put those in a different category. When somebody's asking for material, I'll send that out. But as far as the writing process when I'm on the road, a lot of times I'm writing while I'm driving. That's one of the great things that modern technology has allowed for, is the opportunity just to grab my phone, sing what I'm, working on into the recorder, and then pull that back out at a better time. So at least you're not losing ideas and you're not losing melodies. And, it's not like it used to be when you had to pull over and write it all down. It's a little easier now.
Right. So, you just talked about a great thing about melodies and everything. So when you what's the inspiration? Because I'm blown away. My brother sings for Maverick City, used to, and I'm blown away by you guys and the ability that you're able to put some lyrics together and in your mind come up with some poetic rhythm to go with those words. I mean, how's that creativity work?
I guess it's different for everybody, but for me, it's always been kind of like the best way to describe it is I'm trying to remember a song that I used to know. And so I'm just kind of singing the words, and I'm just basically trying to coax the song back, and it's almost like that the melody is out there and I'm just kind of trying to coax it in. And so usually when I'm writing a song, the lyric and the melody will kind of come together at the same time.
Oh, okay. All right. See, because I'm just fascinated by it, because and let me tell you something. I would know the difference if I wrote something and what tune goes, because I am deaf tuned to death. I can't dance and I can't sing. So I just work through it with very little rhythm. And I know I'm African American, but you just gotta let that slide. Give me a pass.
Well, I never could dance either. I was always in the band, so that's I'm with you there.
That's right. I play sports. Hey, so what song do you got for me tonight?
That's historically based. And there was a time back in 1877 when Jesse James and his gang tried to rob a bank up in Minnesota, and things didn't go well. And so in order to lay low for a while, Jesse and his wife actually moved to my hometown of Waverly, Tennessee. And they lived here under an alias of Mr. and Miss J.D. Howard, lived here for a couple of years. And they were kind of local celebrities. People kind of left him alone. There was some whispers of who he was. And so there's some information about that. And so I gathered up what I could and wrote the most historically based song I could on the time that Jesse James was living here in my hometown.
All right, let's hear it then.
All right. It's called Me and Mr. Howard. He was standing by the front door, hat politely in his hands. From all outward appearances, he seemed a gentleman. Brand new to our town, he planned to farm and make a home, but short on cash and in need of a loan. As he signed the promissory, I offered him my name. He said his name was Howard from up Missouri way. He took my hand and thanked me for the credit I'd extend. Soon me and Mr. Howard would be friends. Well, it was just a few days later I saw the man again at Sunday morning service with his missus walking in. Sat down and took a hymn book he shared with his wife Z. Sang along to bring it into sheets. Well, he called himself a farmer, but it weren't much of a farm. They built a racehorse track in the field behind the barn. He'd run that sorrel red fox. I never saw him lose, and I never saw a challenge he'd refuse. Well, the local gentry liked him. He was smart and full of sand. The ladies thought that he was such a very handsome man. Well, he asked a lot of questions, but he answered very few. The small town idle talk began to brew. Well, it grew into a wildfire, but a whisper it began. The rumor Mr. Howard was a violent wanted man. Some heard he rode with Quantrill in the war between the states, and others heard he robbed the Northfield Bank. Oh, but I was there beside him, I held him as he cried. I helped him dig the graves on the day his babies died. He didn't see an outlaw, just a grieving wounded soul. Sometimes all that pain just takes its toll. Then one Sunday he missed service, and I feared something wrong, so I rode out to see him, but everything was gone. They packed up their belongings and moved on down the line, leaving just two tiny graves behind. Well, after that I'd read about him in the paper. He was news, and those little dime store novels where his legend quickly grew. It was such a contradiction from the man I used to know. Hard to make my mind believe it's so. Well, I hope it wasn't true. I hope the papers got it wrong. It wasn't him that Bob Ford shot down like a dog. But if it's true, he went on to meet a tragic end. I'm still proud that Mr. Howard was my friend. I'm still proud that Mr. Howard was my friend.
Jesse James. All right, man. That was on point. So, you got some new stuff coming out, your new album's out. You just released it. How's it doing so far?
And it's doing great. The first single, When the Good Old Days Were New, went #1. And right now we're #1 on the download charts as far as new releases. So yeah, so far so good.
All right. So are you working in a little bit in Nashville now, or are you more working just around the United States? Because you got a really good big niche of good songs, and I love your music. It's down to earth. I mean, it's clean because this generation, man, we're gonna work through that about their music, but your music's like it's homegrown and grassroots. So the thing is, how are you reaching younger audiences?
That's been it's always a challenge, as an older artist, a lot of my audience is my age or so. But I see that, younger people are discovering it. That's one of the advantages to streaming, is that you have access to all musics. And so it's not like, well, I'm listening to this station that's only playing this type of music. They're, because of YouTube and the streaming services, they're stumbling across different genres. And so I'm running into more and more younger people that seems to be kind of taken to the story song aspect of it. Most of my songs kind of have a story, and that seems to be what at least the fans that I'm getting are making comments about.
I mean, like in your local high schools or just the local area that you're in, do you ever sing it like it's your? Because did you go to high school where you live right now?
I sure did. I sure did.
So how often do you go back and sing there?
Not as often as I would like. I mean, I have the past 2 years, I've done a benefit concert for our local arts council here in my hometown. And, it's always a challenge to sing for your hometown people, because you're wondering, they're like, oh man, that's just Daryl. I ain't gonna go see that, but we've sold it out 2 years in a row, and it's been, it provides a lot of money for our local arts council, which, not only is music, but it's acting and painting and all of the other arts too. And so that's kind of precious to me. And I've been able to go to some other high schools in my travels and talk to songwriting clubs and artistic groups, that's some creative groups, about the process and about the industry. And that's been fun to kind of mentor some of the younger people.
Well, I'm shocked that you haven't collaborated with like Alex Miller because he's got your kind of brand and a bunch of the different artists. So who are you kind of collaborating with these days?
It's funny that you said that. Alex and I were exchanging text messages the other day, like, man, we got to get together and write, but he's busy as I am. So trying to get together in the same place is tough. But yeah, I love what he does. And there's so many great young writers out there. And of course, I have some friends that I write with, Rick Lang and a few others that I write with on a regular basis. And, the timing is always the hard part, because of everybody's schedules. And I write, in fact, 9 of the songs on the new album I wrote by myself, and not because I don't
Wow.
love co-writing, but just because it's difficult to get together and do it.
Oh, okay. So what other song you got now? Yeah, off the
Well,
new album now, off the new album, I want the good stuff.
this I call this song a love song for straight guys. And what I mean by that is,
No, you're
it's
good.
like you're gonna
I'm
love this.
politically correct.
You know that when you take girls, take ladies who haven't seen their friend in a while, and they see their friend and they just hug and they squeal, and they're so animated. Their affection for their friend is so obvious. You take a guy who's got, man, like a best friend, closer than a brother, hadn't seen him in 6 months, and they'll walk up and shake hands, and one of them will say something like, "Man, you got ugly." And the other one say, "Well, you started out ugly," but it means the same thing. We just don't talk like that. We don't express that way. And so I wanted to write a song that would kind of say what guys really think, even though they never say it. So maybe you're like, is this called A Friend Like You? Saturday morning, sun is up. I hitch my boat to my pickup truck. Throw in some sandwiches and fish and poles. Kiss my baby and off I go. I pull up, honk and grin. You load your tackle box and you climb in. Not a cloud in this big blue sky. I couldn't feel better, even if I tried it. The fish ain't biting, or we don't care. We know that ain't the reason that we're here. Just want to spend a little time away. Country boys burning up a Saturday. We tell stories, jokes, and lies the way that we've been doing nearly all our lives. And I'm a fortunate man, it's true. It's good to have a friend like you. Conversation, travel slow, talking about the subjects that we know. Antique tractors, turkey calls, NASCAR, guitars, and basketball. And my wife knows that I love her dear, but every now and then I gotta get out here for some self-indulgent bliss, man. It just don't get no better than this. If the fish ain't biting, or we don't care, we know that ain't the reason that we're here. Just want to spend a little time away. Country boys burning up Saturday. We tell stories, jokes, and lies the way that we've been doing nearly all our lives. And I'm a fortunate man, it's true. It's good to have a friend like you. If the fish ain't biting, or we don't care, we know that ain't the reason that we're here. Just want to spend a little time away. Country boys burning up a Saturday. We tell stories, jokes, and lies the way that we've been doing nearly all our lives. And I got someone to tell it to. It's good to have a friend like you. Well, my health is good, work's all right. I'm proud of my children and I love my wife. And I got someone to tell it to. It's good to have a friend like you. Oh, it's good to have a friend like you.
Would never say those things, but I'm just gonna tell you, man, my wife gets on me all the time about guys hanging out doing guy stuff. Trust me. Now
Man,
you so
it's
you're
important.
original.
It's one of those relationships that it's important to us, and we're just not comfortable talking about. But we ought to be, man. We ought to be able to say, "Brother, I love you and I appreciate you," but it's hard.
But you know what? Here's the thing, man. And I'm not gonna get on too political thing, but let me just be honest. Our society has tried to ostracize and attack the ability just to enjoy life and be a guy. just be a plane, be a good old fish, hunt, just do the things that we do, get out in the woods, kick it. Like me and the guys, we'll go out and hang out and, do some deep sea fishing or something. I mean, that's stuff that men do.
Man, I agree. I mean, I think it's important that we don't put the key of our value on somebody else's chain.
Oh, love that quote. Definitely gonna have to put that one in the reel. I like that. So, Daryl, before we get out of here, let me just ask you a few last things. So where are you gonna be playing at next?
This weekend I go to Wisconsin for about 3 days. Next week is Texas. So
Normally, how packed is your schedule?
I book usually 4 or 5 months in advance. I do about 150 dates a year. And so I mean, there's a little wiggle room, but I mean, the weekends are pretty hard to get. Occasionally, somebody will reach out, kind of at the 11th hour and say, "Can you come do a Thursday or whatever?" And lots of times I can work that out. But the weekends are usually booked up, 3 to 6 months in advance.
All right. So, I mean, how many grandkids do you have? Do you have grandkids?
Man, I don't have any grandkids. We're getting a little a little frustrated about that. But no, I have 3 grown kids. 2 are married, and they're in the talking stages, but no grandbabies yet. So
Okay. So, and the only reason I throw that out there because I got a grandson, so it's kind of like now I'm starting to kind of pass the torch over and let him enjoy life and do some things, But everything has, as they say, every season has its moment. It's just not their season yet.
well, like I said, I'm right now I'm okay with it. Right now my schedule's busy, and but I'm looking forward to the day when I do slow down, and hopefully at that point there'll be some grandkids around that I can spoil and dote on, because I like to do that. So.
You used to be a baseball player, right? Or you like
Oh
baseball?
yeah, baseball player, baseball coach, love baseball.
All right. So who you got in the World Series?
Man, I tell you, the Yankees played good last night. It's going to be hard for them to dig out of that hole, but the Dodgers are playing great, but they're still in New York. The momentum is in their favor. If Judge and a couple other players can get hot at, have a couple of good at bats, and then this could go down to the last game, and could go 7. I'd love to see that.
It's old school. What's funny is that in baseball, it really comes down to pitching, and if your bullpen can go to the late innings, and it seems to be a struggle. I look at all the injuries they have in baseball right now, and it just blows my mind how so many people get so hurt so much.
Well, that's what's odd to me too, is that I remember back in the day when teams had a 4-man rotation. Guys were expected to finish what they started. I remember back in the 70s one year when Baltimore had 4 guys that won 20 games. I mean, but now we've got all these specialized things, and if you go 6 innings, then they consider that a quality start. And so I think they've put all this extra pressure on guys to be able to come in a game and in these moments and be able to deliver. And that's a special guy that can do that. And so I think there's a mental aspect that they're not addressing as much as they are the physical part of it. I mean, a guy who can just walk in with 2 runners on, the tie and run at the plate, and just knuckle down, and that's a special guy.
Yeah, no more Roger Clemens and all the other guys from back in the day, that Vita Blue that used to go the whole distance. Guys, so before I get out here, let me just say this. Check out Daryl Mosley's got a new songs out, new album out. Go ahead and get live stream it. I'll put it up. It'll be posted in the bottom of everything once this production is done. So go ahead and grab it, buy it, sell it, share it, and get it out there to everybody. And, and follow him on his social media. And with that being said, Daryl, what song do you have to take us home?
Well, I'll do the first single off the album, and but I appreciate you having me. It's always great.
Hold on, one sec, Daryl. Oh, Michael G just popped in. He's Mike G. What's up?
What's going on, everyone?
Man, I almost missed you. You got here just in time.
Man, I know I was running late. Elections got me busy. Elections have me busy. I got seeing you guys. You're ending it up. That's it. The party's over.
So we good?
Hey, but Mike, hey man, it's better late than never, because Daryl's about to sing his last song to take us home, man. And we're gonna keep it rolling after that.
All right, here we go. He was sitting in a straight back rocker staring into space. 80 years of yesterdays were lined across his face. He took a sip of coffee and he never looked at me. He just started talking about his family. He said, just beyond that meadow, there's a cold running stream. Mother married Dad right there when she was 17. When Dad went to the Navy until Truman dropped the bomb. What was left of him came home to Mom. He joined the labor union, farming on the side. Mama raised us kids, I guess that kept her occupied. 'Cause we gave her clothes for mending and hungry mouths to feed, and reasons to spend time down on her knees. It wasn't easy, but it was good. Everything we had was made from calluses and wood, but I'd trade all my tomorrows for one more visit through those simple barefoot summers when the good old days were new. Well, I can close my eyes and still see us clear as day, working till the last of that old sun had bled away. Mama cleared the table and we'd sit out on the swing. Daddy picked the guitar and we'd sing. And then sister, she got married and moved to Birmingham. Brother joined the Navy just to be like his old man. The hands of time kept squeezing till all the life was gone, and no one left but me to carry on. It's not much of a legacy that I leave behind. At times it's held together with just bale and wire and twine. But the memories flow past just like a feather in the wind, and I sure would love to do it all again. It wasn't easy, but it was good. Everything we had was made from calluses and wood, but I'd trade all my tomorrows for one more visit through those simple barefoot summers when the good old days were new. Those simple barefoot summers when the good old days were new.
What he was saying is he said, Mike said, it was great to see you. He's glad that you're still rolling and knocking it out of the ballpark is what he just said.
Well, man, I appreciate that. It's after all these years, I still love it. And, you know, and I guess that's important. It'd be hard to do it if you didn't. And not many people at my age are still doing what they thought they wanted to do when they were 7 or 8 years old. So I'm pretty blessed.
That's true. Hey guys, and with that being said, I got Mike G and I got Daryl Mosley on, and you definitely need to check out Daryl. And I appreciate everybody coming to the first session of the jam session with my main man Daryl, because hey, he brought us in and he's starting it out the new year for Embrace the Power. And with that being said, as me and Mike G always say, keep it rolling. And Daryl, it was a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Always great to see y'all.